Idaho's connection to film goes back to at least 1915 when a motion picture was shot for the first time in the Gem State. Films have rolled off reels for a lot longer than that here, even though reel-to-reel movie watching hasn't been a thing in Idaho theaters for the last several years. In fact, there aren't many projectors left in the world that can do that. There is one in Boise, and a week from tonight, a sold-out crowd at the Egyptian will be able to watch the holiday classic, A Christmas Story, the way it was originally shown 40 years ago, over a 35-millimeter projector. And get this is happening thanks to the efforts of Peter Billingsley, which you might know him as, little Ralphie Parker. He now lives in Idaho and donates his time to the Idaho Film Society. But to run a 40-year-old film on a 35-millimeter projector, you first need a technician to bring the old gear back to life. Little did we know, the best of a dying breed is also right here in Boise. And this week, Andrew Bartline met him.
For decades now, he's been locked in a battle between will and time.
I was about 12 or 13 years old.
Starting with a life-changing moment when John Eichhoff found his first love.
I had gone to see a movie in our local theater where my sister worked up at Lake Tahoe, and the power went out. We ushered all the people out, and I asked her, I said, "Where's the owner?" She says, "Well, he's up in the projection room." And I could hear him rattling around up there, shutting switches and stuff off. And he says, "You interested in running movies?" And I said, "Sure." So you show up tomorrow night and I'll start training you.
Today at the Egyptian Theater in downtown Boise.
Top 10 list, this house.
John's pulled out of retirement.
I basically quit in 2003.
Because the show can't just go on.
Yeah.
So we're doing an event on the 14th for Christmas Story.
A timeless classic.
That one's up on level.
Deserves romantic imperfections.
And then you kind of see where it grows from there.
Right, Ralphie?
And the Egyptian Theater has restored their projectors. We're actually going to be playing the 35-millimeter print, which is cool. It sort of goes back to the roots of film. Not a lot of theaters in the country are doing it.
That's because not a lot of people know how.
Now I own
save one.
The old movie theater in Wendell.
In our own backyard.
I bought that 33 years ago, work on that.
John has a reputation nationally as being one of the foremost experts in film projectors.
Come on.
He's preserving a lost art.
Through the projector.
And it's not even for himself.
There we go.
Because this,
That'll work.
it's meant to be shared.
When you have the 300-seat theater and it's full, and something happens on the screen, the people do this, or they just laughing and stuff. It's just fun to watch the audience reactions, and you don't really see that too much anymore because I think everybody's getting burned out on all the special effects. But the old days, it was fun.
A sort of time machine repairman.
I can sum it all up in this: I never had a day that I didn't want to go to work.
And John?
I enjoyed my work.
Just can't stand to let it go.
There ain't no way in heck. Okay.
But sometimes?
Yeah. I'm going to come out here and sit down a minute, though.
John can't stand at all.
An end-stage renal failure. And, in fact, my voice is kind of messed up because I had a stroke when I was on dialysis a couple of years ago. I had a small stroke. I just haven't had any luck getting a transplant yet. The doctors are working on it. They'll see if they have good news for me or not.
Between his will and time,
yeah.
John knows he's at a countdown.
There we go. I'm having to face the close of my life, and I'm doing okay with it.
He's choosing to spend his final years doing what he loves.
This was great for me. I mean, I'll tell you, having a project to do again.
Preserving history and saving what he can, because John knows a lot about time.
What happens if that stuff gets sitting for another 10 years? Who's going to fix it then? And that's what we're trying to work on. We're going to train some people to not only operate projectors, but work on them, and maintain them.
John's now on his third hospital trying to get a kidney transfer, and he is working through the University of Washington in Seattle to do it. He also has a warehouse full of projectors and parts. His stock alone can tell the entire history of cinema and projectors. He's offered it all to the Idaho Film Society to create a museum. And the Egyptian is showing the Christmas Story on the 14th, I believe, Brian. And they're actually having another show now on the 19th because the 14th sold out so quickly. They're trying to meet that demand for it, and he's the guy making it happen.
I think it's interesting that last thing you said kind of parallel his job himself. You know, what if they need another one in 10 years? Who's going to fix it? So I know that he's looking for somebody to help fix him right now, which
Yeah,
is
and
pretty impressive.
He said it's kind of a small industry. He has a
Yeah.
couple friends who do this, and he's like, half a dozen of us maybe. Wow. Not a lot of people in the country that even know how to do it.
From Wendell, Idaho.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Andy.